want to spend 10, 12 minutes on this because I love Governor Wheelchair. Who's not a fan of Greg Abbott? Who's not a fan of Greg Abbott? I am absolutely positively one of Governor Wheelchair's biggest fans, and he's saying that things have already taken a change at the border and in Texas since Trump took office, and these immigration officials have started locking everything down. Take a look.
Joining me right now in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. Governor, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Maria.
Have you seen a change? Tell us what has happened since President Trump was sworn in as our 47th president.
Maria, I don't think there's ever been a more sudden and swift change in any government operation than under President Trump when he took the oath of office. I would say overnight, but on the first hour of his tenure as president, we saw the change where there were military sent to the border. The military were blocking people from crossing the border illegally. The numbers of people who crossed on the 9th.
Hold on. Before we get into Governor Wheelchair, you know, the chat is my co-host for the day. Chris Jones says, maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me. But it seems like they going for the black and brown people. What about the Ukrainians and the Asians and the Chinese? Every time I see you, I'm taking somebody. I've never seen the. I don't really know what that means. Listen, bro. I have no respect to persons. If you're illegal, you have to go. If you're illegal, you have to go. That's it. Y'all always want to make this about black and white. Y'all always want to make this about black and brown. Y'all always want to make this about gay and straight. I don't care who you are and where you from. If you are illegal, you have to go. Fact of the matter is just that. It just is what it is.
18th of January, dropped dramatically on the 20th of January. They have continued to drop, and every single day, President Trump, working with Tom Homan, they've been deporting people to the countries they came from. But to show how Texas is a partner in all this process, on the hour that President Trump took office, Texas was deploying more buoys in the Rio Grande to deter and deny illegal entry into the country. The change, Maria, is this. We suddenly now have a commander-in-chief who cares about national security, who cares about securing the border, who's going to enforce the law. And importantly, he has a governor in a state in Texas that will be a partner with the Trump administration. We will assist in the arrest, the detention, and the deportation of people coming across the border illegally.
And deportations are now well underway. Some have been put on planes. Are they going back to Mexico? Where are you sending them? Give us a sense of the practical process that is happening right now.
So hundreds up to close to 1,000 are being sent back across the border on a daily basis under the Trump administration. Some are going to Mexico. Others, you will see flights that are going to Guatemala and some other Central American countries. And the Trump administration is going to be sending them back to their home countries and demanding compliance by these countries that they take back the people who have crossed the border illegally. And know this, and that is right now, I would say there's two categories of people that the Trump administration is sending back. One, they're trying to go after those who are public safety threats, who are criminals, as well as national security threats. Remember, under Joe Biden, they allowed into the United States people who were on the terrorist watch list.
That is so crazy to me. That is so crazy to me that the Biden administration. Would y'all say that the Biden administration is the worst president of all time? I like Governor Hot Wheels too. I like Professor X. Would y'all say that the Biden administration is the worst administration of all time if y'all had to rank them? Because why would you let over convicted felons, illegal like criminals? It's bad enough that we had our borders open, but they was just letting anybody in. They didn't care. I remember at the Democratic National Convention, they were saying, the pundits were saying, oh, he's going to go down as one of the most accomplished politicians of all time. He's had 50 years in office. Y'all really love Joe, huh? Because that was what they was chanting. We love you, Joe. They had their signs. We love you, Joe. We love you, Joe. Is he going down as one of the worst politicians of all time?
And the Trump administration is seeking out and trying to find them and deport them. And then the other that they're sending back is that, listen, those people who think they can cross the border and stay here in the country illegally now, those days are gone. So if anybody apprehended coming across the border is going to be sent back immediately.
Isn't it unbelievable? Texas is now a partner to the federal government as opposed to being an enemy, which certainly is what it looked like under the Biden team. But let me get your take on this 300,000 children that were lost under the Biden-Harris administration. Fox News reported this week, Harris Faulkner reported that the Trump team has now located some of those children.
So listen, it's almost criminal what Joe Biden did, allowing all these children to come in and then losing them, putting those children at risk.
Crazy.
Who knows how many of those children were child sex trafficked or harmed in some other way. And you got to hand it to the Trump administration for quickly locating them, identifying them, and work to ensure that their safety. And here again, it's a night and day difference between the Trump administration.
So do y'all have sympathy for them? Because I remember earlier in the show, y'all was talking about sympathy for the illegal migrants that was over here. But do y'all have sympathy for them? What happened to the children that they was incentivizing to have over here and that was getting trafficked and that they lost track of? Do y'all have sympathy for them? Should they have even been on this path and this journey to be over here in the first place? How many children have been taken advantage of? How many young people, how many women have been taken advantage of trying to cross over here to the United States of America? Jeez. Somebody said that it was all about the coins. For who? Biden is like 9 million years old. How many more coins can you really get? The older I get, the less I care about my coins. You know why? Because I realize that it's meant to be made and meant to be spent at the same time. A lot of people, it's funny because people will say to me, I'll go and buy a watch or I'll go and buy a car because they don't really understand the value of timepieces and things like that. And or, they'll say, oh man, I can't believe you bought that car. You should have put it in an index fund or you should have did this. And I be thinking to myself, how much more money do I have to put up? Or do I just keep doing it for the rest of my life and I can't enjoy my resources either? Biden was like 1 million years old. How much more coin can you take advantage of? How much more money, how much more finessing can you do? When people get older, right? Think about this for a minute. When people get older, they try to come to terms with what their life is, right? They want to get right with God. That's why you see this is why you see people often at times going into the church, right? This is why you see them become deacon master splinter, right? Deacon Jones was a deacon demon back in the day. Mama Mary was for the streets back in the day. She was doing some wild things. But do you know why they dedicate themselves to God with such fervency? Is because as they get older, they want to increase in their mind their chances to ultimately become saints. They want to make it into heaven. And so that's why they such hard servants. See, I'm going to give you the truth. I'm going to tell you the absolute positive truth. When people get older, they're trying to come to terms with the things that they did when they was younger. And so because they didn't live their life for God the way that they think that they should have, or they wish they would have back when they was younger, as they get older, when God can't really use them anymore, that's why they so fervent and they so dedicated to the pastor. And they're trying to show God that they're obedient because their best years are behind them. And so in order to increase their chances that they don't bust hell wide open, right? they got to serve hard. And so you start to come to terms. You start not to care a little bit more. When you've been living your life so egregious for so long, you start not to care a little bit more. And so when you think about Biden being a 50-year politician and Hunter Biden and all of these different things, and the fact that, his son and all of this stuff, right? And then you say, man, look at all of the evil things that they did while he was in office over the last 4 years. You just got to think that either you just a real life demon. He got to be a real life demon, the Biden administration. You got to be a real life demon to be all the way at your big old age and still saying, you know what, I'm going to burn this place to the ground. That's demon behavior. That's a deranged mind. That's a reprobate mind. That is a person that is dedicated to die on a deathbed. And because they became a politician instead of just being a regular citizen, we can't really hold them accountable anymore. That is a demon, honest to God. Because if you're not trying to atone and make sure that you do things right, but you just set in your ways and you still determined to burn things to the ground, you're not going to convince me that you're doing it for money. It ain't enough money that you can make that's going to ever prevent you from, you're not going to have no different of a lifestyle. You got Secret Service for the rest of your life. You pardon your son. He been doing cocaine off of women's booties. Ain't nothing you can buy. You probably can't even get it up anymore. Ain't nothing you can do. It's nothing you can buy. What coin? See, the problem with y'all is that y'all can't really put in perspective who these people really are because you're equating it to what your values are. Your values are in money. You in your life is thinking, man, if I just had $10,000 more dollars, 100,000, you know what I would do with that? Crash out. Crash out. First, go get you a Challenger, Charger Hellcat, red eye. Spend the rest of it at the strip club. You ain't thinking about catching up on your child support. You ain't catching up on no child support. Child support. I got this under the table. They don't even know I got this money. You ain't catching up on no child support. You're not helping the homeless. I hate to see when people say that dumb junk online. Oh, yeah. You know what? If I had all of that money, I would be a pillar in my community. Boy, you wouldn't come back to the hood if your life depended on it. You're not doing that. People that tell me what they would do versus what they do is a whole nother ball. I would be there for my family. Your family wouldn't even know you. You would crash out. You would go and get you some coke, try to flip that immediately. You looking at it from your lens. You're not looking at it from the lens of a Joe. You ain't looking at it from the lens of Joe. What you think that y'all keep talking about Nancy Pelosi stock trades? Have y'all seen what Nancy Pelosi look like? Do y'all know how big of an age she at? Y'all know how old Nancy? Let me look at Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. Age. Nancy Pelosi was born in 1940. Nancy Pelosi was born in 1940. Nancy Pelosi is 84 years old. She will be 85 March 26, 1940. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi give a flying F about what trades to make for her portfolio going forward? Think about it for a minute. Start to tap out and think about what lens we looking at this through. You not talking to nobody that's 44, 34, 54, 24. You talking to somebody that's 84 years old. Maybe got a good 6 or 7 years ahead of them and more money than they'll ever be able to spend in their entire life. Why do you think that they do some of the things that they do? Why do you think that they do some of the things that they do? They don't do it for the same reasons that you do it. And the minute that you realize that, you'll stop looking at them the same way. You'll stop supporting them. You'll stop voting for them. They don't think from the same lens as you.
Administration and the Biden administration, we now have a commander-in-chief in office who's going to ensure the safety of people in the country, whether it be these young kids who are trafficked into our country, or everyday Americans and communities that are having to deal with the consequences of Joe Biden's open border policies.
What about those Venezuelan gangs, Tren de Aragua, that was causing such havoc? Do you believe, Governor, that we will see a change in crime? The attacks that we're seeing across the country in places like big cities like New York, do you believe in the coming months that will move the needle as a result of what you all are doing in Texas?
So it's actually already begun. So what we did in Texas, I signed a law and then implemented the law declaring Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization. And for the past year, Texas has been working with federal, state, and local authorities to arrest and jail Tren de Aragua members here in the state of Texas. What Trump will do is apply that same strategy. He's already either done it or said he's going to do it, declare Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization under the federal law, which is even more powerful. And what Trump wants to do is to go after organizations like that, which is the largest, most deadly and consequential foreign terrorist organization, and make sure that we put them out of business. And the way we put them out of business is to put them behind bars.
Well, we're all.
Shout out to Governor Wheelchair. We love him. We appreciate him. I personally think over the last 4 years, he quite possibly could have been the best governor in the United States of America. I think that Governor Wheelchair is incredible.